Oh.
All right, you're good.
All right. Well, welcome to the special meeting of the Board of Trustees for Oroville City Elementary School District. I will call the meeting to order at 4:59. Oh, that's loud. So I will start with roll call. Lisa Torres. Here. Jessica Anthony.
Present.
Sandra Barnes.
Here.
Bill LeGrone.
Here.
Dr. Holton.
Present.
We will stand with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, item 3, public comments. At this time, the board will extend an invitation to interested parties who wish to speak on matters which are school related. For those attending remotely who wish to comment, use the raise your hand button to be called on to speak. Comments or questions may be emailed to backpack@ocesd.net. Please include your first and last name in your email. Comments and questions received will be read into the record and or addressed during the meeting. However, comments received without the sender's name will not be shared during the meeting. Do we have any emails to read, Andrew?
No, we do not.
Okay, and do we have any raised hands online?
No, we do not.
Okay, and we have no one in the public to speak. So we will move on to public comments on special meeting agenda items. Do we have any emails for that?
No, we do not.
Okay, and we don't have any raised hands and we don't have anyone in the public, so we can move past the public comments on special meeting agenda to the items. Well, move on to the consent agenda. Only 2 items on it. Any discussion on the consent agenda from the board? Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, any discussion?
And we are consenting to the inter-district transfers.
Yes. Any discussion?
Are we at all alarmed at the amount leaving?
Well, every year we have,
We have a lot.
we have a lot.
Yeah.
Usually we have about 400. Right now, we're in the 300s.
For the 23-24 school year.
Mhm. So typically, like I shared, we usually have about 400. So 300 is less than what we typically have. What I will share is that typically we have more kids coming in than we currently have right now.
They usually drop it.
So it is a concern that we're watching right now, but it is less than previous years, and I watch that pretty closely.
When you receive these requests, are there meetings or to exit or meetings to enter, or is it just an approval? Or I mean, how does this work?
So there's a lot of rules and regulations set up with the state, how it works, but at times I do meet with families. A lot of these requests are students who have been requesting these kind of requests year after year after year. And so if it's a repeat request, due for the continuity for kids and their best interest of being in a school where they have, friends and where they're comfortable, we always approve. Other education codes, like if they have childcare in that district, if the parents work in that specific district, if they're in a year where either 5th grade or 8th grade, or if they're a high school senior, and they've been in that district previous, we automatically have to let them finish out their career. And so there's a lot of rules. But in years past, depending on circumstances, I've met with many parents regarding these. I haven't as much this year because a lot of them, most of them, if not all of them, are just continuation.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Is anybody awake?
Emotion.
Yeah, I did already.
Yeah, we did that, we did that part.
Did we get a second?
Yes.
I
I
I
apologize.
couldn't
remember.
She had the
Then we
discussion.
discussed afterwards. All right, well, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 5 yes votes. All right, item 5, business and finance. Approve marketing services proposal for Watershed Media LLC.
So this is the same marketing firm that did our ads last year. I know that I've been given the directive from Spencer we're ramping up on our advertising and our public relations. So that's what this is. We met with Jason, who does a really good job. This is a full campaign for 6 months. And we felt that having him do more of because there's sort of 2 different choices in the contract, but having him do the full PR campaign like he would do, we felt would be a good shot in the arm for us for this semester. So that's what we're presenting to you tonight. And I have full faith that Watershed will do a great job. They did a great job for us last year. And I think that having more of their images and videos in our district will only help, because they add a lot of really good content to our web pages and social media, because they're taking really nice professional photos and things that they can use. So.
And based on our conversation that we just had about kids leaving our district, we are seeing the highest percentage of kids leaving our middle schools.
Right.
And so this is very much targeted towards that population, and we're working very hard, not only with this PR, but a lot of the things that we're doing as we roll out this next year is going to be focused on retaining those kids and building our reputation back that we do have quality middle schools. Part of this campaign is it's not just paying for services, but it's paying for billboard time throughout the district and throughout the city. Some of it digital, some of it just a plain poster. And this is also includes my welcome back message that I filmed last week that will be going out as well as with principals. And then also Bill did a public service announcement regarding guns and gun safety today that is also under this contract. So we're doing a lot of things to not only push our district and the things that we have to offer, but we're also trying to be very strategic about the 2 tragedies that we just had. And we did a very non-political keep guns safe, keep guns locked up. If you see it, keep your ammunition locked in a different spot than your guns, things like that. It's non-political. It's just about safety.
And who does that go to? Our parents?
It goes to our parents, and it's also going to go to our community, and it's also going to go out to the general
Okay.
community as well. And because when I say community, the school community,
Right.
but we are going to be pushing this out throughout. But our biggest targeted audience is going to be our students and families and people within Warville.
Great. So I noticed that there's 2 options on this. Which one are we approving?
Option B is the one where we have Watershed doing more of the PR campaign, being more involved. So that's what we're putting on tonight. That's the option we like.
Okay.
From Watershed. We felt that having the sort of a shot in the arm to get things moving. Additionally, if you look at the contract, it's 2 video deliverables a month. I know that with Spencer's welcome back message, it was a teleprompter video message, and Jason from Watershed really believed in the power of video in this current environment for advertising. Because a lot of this will go on YouTube and different things and Facebook, and so having those video deliverables is going to be an important piece, and he's going to help us navigate how that works and how to get that out, which is something we haven't really done to this degree. This is going to be more messaging. Is it beyond just a couple of ads? So this is quite a step up.
I think you did a really nice job before. The one thing I would like to see is maybe a little more diversity that represents the demographics of our students. I didn't see as much of that last time as I would like, so if we could have them focus a little bit more on that, I think that would be good for our community.
Sure.
In this particular, thank you for that feedback. In this particular campaign, we're focused on, more adult deliverables like me, Chief LaGrone, things like that. Less of the students. But one of the things that we really honed in on with this is the fact that with YouTube and Facebook and things like that, we can actually track, who it's going to, if we're getting the hits, how many people are seeing it, so that we can then have a good idea of, is it working?
Right.
And is it worth the investment?
Now, is it gonna be translated in English, Spanish, and Hmong?
Okay.
So any written content on our webpage or Facebook, I think, is automatically translatable. I'm not sure about the video content itself. It's obviously it's going to be closed captioned, and I assume that that's also translatable. But I don't see Spencer presenting a video with him talking.
No, it would have to be.
No, subtext.
Subtext.
Yes, that's on those video platforms, I believe. But we can check.
But we can ask them, certainly.
I think that'd be a really nice feature for everybody. So, I mean, if we can engage families that are non-English, that would be available.
All right, is there a motion to approve the marketing services proposal for Watershed?
I make a motion to approve the marketing proposal for watershed option B. That's detailed in the contract.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 5 yes votes. Great. We'll move on to we accept bids for direct fencing project.
So this is a large fencing project. We've attempted to go out to bid before, but we didn't feel that it was specific enough. So we got new specifics, went out to bid again. This is fencing at Ishii, Oakdale, and I think at Ophir. But it's a very, very large fencing project. So we're talking about the full front of Ishii, and I think the whole back of Ishii as well.
How many acres is
I'm not sure, but it's a large fencing project, as you can see by the prices. So I think this is the last major piece of fencing we need to have that fully fenced in environment in all of our schools. And hopefully this will be, any fencing we're doing in the future is going to be just, still strategic pieces here and there, like, between a couple of portables or something, where you need to have some fencing to keep kids out of certain spots on campus. But we're hopeful that this will be, as far as the safety aspect of it goes, will really help with students who are getting off campus or getting onto parts of campus or at campus adjacent places to do things they shouldn't be doing.
walking on top of Oakdale?
Right, or walking down the street, little kids get out and it's happened, but we're all fenced up at, in front of our elementary schools, and that's super helpful. Because those little kids,
It slows them down.
it slows them down, for sure. Additionally, we haven't had a lot of activity on some of these sites with people who don't belong on site being on site. Like at Ophir and Ishii, it really hasn't been a big problem. But this adds just that layer of security that all other sites have, and then we have a barrier so that ingress and egress is going to be so I think from a safety standpoint, this was something that I think when we initially were talking about it on the safety committee, I don't know that we ever thought we'd ever get here. I don't think we ever thought the money would be here to do this much fencing, but it feels really good to be able to finish it up and feel like, hey, we've got some pretty secure campuses and keep kids safe and where they're supposed to be and keep people who shouldn't be on campus off.
I think it's a great idea to finish the fencing project. I think it's valuable. my concern is the letter that was submitted
Mhm.
to the board regarding using this particular company. Can you speak to that at all? Should we read the letter?
What I can say about the letter is, about our process, is the letter speculates that if you select a specific vendor, that there will be change orders that will inflate the bid. We don't have any experience with that with this vendor, so I don't know if we have any actual grounds to exclude the vendor based on a letter from a agency that I believe is, closely tied to a specific union. So I look at our process. Like if I was going to exclude a vendor with a good bid, it would be because we went and did our standard due diligence and found that there was problems with the vendor, or the vendor had come here before and we had a problem with the vendor. But I can't say to you in good conscience that the low bidder, there's anything deficient about them. I can't say that to you. It's the board's decision to make. But I can't speak to that there's anything legitimate about the letter. It's just a letter. I did some research trying to hunt this down, that agency online. There's one in every state, and it sounds like they're how they sell themselves is, hey, we help get more union business. That's all I can speak to about that. Are speculating.
From what I could tell, there were 3 layers of each. If you follow the money trail, who contributes what to whom? The ultimate comes from the actual union where it's construction workers, contracting workers union, but it's their union dues that contribute, and then they send it to someone else, and then they send it to someone else.
Right.
Yeah.
So it could be seen as in the same sort of vein as advertising in my mind. Yeah, I don't think it necessarily has any other, legitimacy for you other than it's trying to inform you of their point of view on these things.
Right, but my perspective, it didn't seem like he was doing due diligence as far as finding out all the information. He was just saying, hey, you went out for bids.
Right, this one was low, and I'm gonna guess that they paid non-union shop if I had to guess.
Well, they did say that this organization, Fence-It, has not made good faith effort to participate and invest in local workforce development, nor have they participated in local hiring of workers in the community through formal and recognized pre-apprenticeship programs and formal apprenticeship programs.
So who does?
But those would be, again, those are all elements of the union.
Right,
Right.
which I think is valuable. I
I'm not saying- I'm
respect
not
unions.
casting any dispersions. But again, yes, you can make that same statement about a lot of things. Again, from my perspective, and this is sort of for you to take the letter and information from there, is from what I know of our process, when I'm going to come to you and say, we can't accept this low bid. It's going to be because we've got a legitimate actual reason. And this is just a persuasive letter from my perspective.
And the other thing that we have to consider is we have the responsibility to take the lowest bid that meets all the specifications of the job. And we have no reason to believe, or any kind of research or any kind of evidence that supports that this company can't do the job based on the bid that they've proposed to us. And the particular company that is the lowest bid is from Chico. It's more local than some of the other bids that are from the greater Sacramento area, which also I think goes into why it's more cost effective, because they are local and they don't have to deal with transportation and things of that nature. That's just one element of the bid process. But we did do a lot of due diligence. We researched, we looked, I've talked to people, I think this is a pretty, this kind of letter does get sent out to, in these kind of processes with city organizations and others, from time to time. But we don't have a, this is persuasive, but this is not a government oversight type thing where, this is, Sacramento or CDE saying, hey, this is Spencer or the board or anybody else, you need to be concerned about this. This is a letter that we need to take seriously, and we have, but I have no other information that I can share with you to say, hey, we ought not take the lowest bid.
Would it be possible to ask them to verify that they can account for the proper classification and that their employees are receiving a prevailing wage? Or
So as part of the bid process, they are required to pay a prevailing wage.
okay,
So that
that's
they have
already
to,
done.
and they've signed all the certifications that they would do that. So
I believe there will be monitoring from the California Department of Labor. If they don't, they'll be fined substantially. Because essentially they'll be getting the money, keeping the money and not giving it to the employees. And my experience has been that the Department of Labor is quick to come in if that situation does occur.
right, so for us, for this project, paying prevailing wage or not is not optional. They have to pay it because of the nature of the project and the cost of it.
Well, and our specifications that we have to follow. Right.
Right, and they've filled out all their paperwork and that involved the prevailing wage certifications and everything else.
Okay.
Because that would be very upsetting. We're
Yeah.
paying prevailing wage and it's not getting to the employee.
Right.
Well, that would be a big problem. I mean, that would be a big legal problem that they would have gotten themselves into. I can't imagine it would have gone on very long.
Right.
The amount of eyes clearly looking at these companies.
Was this the only local business that gave a bid?
So all the bids are represented there. We have 5 different bids. One from Chico, one from El Dorado Hills, one from Rockland, one from Fortuna, one from Citrus Heights.
So it seems logical then that those would be higher because they're gonna have to pay for travel for their,
Subsistence too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't speak to, why a bid is more competitive than or not. Travel is probably one of them. I would also guess if you're a business in the area, you're probably trying to be really competitive so you can get in, get those reputations built up. So that you can start getting those fence jobs, right? Because I don't believe we've done business with fencing before. We do typically use different fencing company that didn't bid on this time. So I don't know. I can't say that that's actually the case, but speculate.
Well, and we can speculate, because I did ask Andrew, why who did our last project, why they didn't submit a bid, and his feedback to me was that it was too big a scale of a job. I also know, having worked very closely in the construction business, because that's what my wife's family is in, and sometimes they will overbid jobs because they are very busy, but if they are, lowest bid, and they do overbid it, then they're happy to do it because there's more money to be made, and that's why sometimes you see such a large disparity.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, I don't know if I can fit this in, but if I overbid it,
Yeah.
I'll make it work, or I can hire, I can figure that out.
Right.
So,
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the bids for district fencing project?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 5 yes votes.
Who's doing this a
I
second?
thought you did the, you
Second.
did first. Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's pure voice.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we will move right along to awarding the contract for the district fencing project. So it's recommended that the contract for the fencing project be awarded to Fence It, also known as doing business as Northern California Fence of Chico. Is there a motion to award the contract?
So moved.
There's a second.
A second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 5 yes votes. And so we will adjourn the meeting. I cannot see what that time it is. Do I have 5:24?